What's going on, guys? Jada Black here. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I want to talk about an artist by the name of Sabrina Carpenter. She's going viral right now. She's actually trending on Twitter due to her most recent album cover where she's in a position. I'm going to show partially what it is. This right here is getting a lot of pushback from feminists. Now, there are some people saying, well, the album cover and title have a different meaning. But let me tell y'all something. Sabrina Carpenter has tapped into what she has realized, that the more sexual that you are, the more attention that you're going to get. But, you would notice a lot of this in like the hip hop rap genre, right? She's taken a page out of their playbook and she's applying it to her genre as a pop artist. You don't see a lot of pop artists being very sexual who get a lot of mainstream attention. She has been able to tap into that and she's leaning into it, right? Like at the start of her concerts, she reveals herself, right? She reveals what she has, I think, underneath the towel. This is blown up. And she knows this, but I think she understands that feminists, for the most part, are going to get angry. Men are going to like it. She knows this. She knows this. And that's what is going on currently. Controversy does sell. And she's applying something that she has seen in, again, the rap, hip hop with these female rappers who are being overly. Now she's not out here doing the absolute most. But she visually is tapping into what can get people's attention. And it has gotten them angry. The feminists are angry because a lot of feminists, especially a lot of modern day feminists, they have been pushing something I call uglyism. They have been pushing the uglyism movement of women making themselves ugly on purpose to fight back against patriarchy, right? And Sabrina Carpenter, she's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman who's, leaning into her looks. You don't see her with the pierced nose, that septum ring, that BS that these heifers be wearing on their face that makes them look crazy. She don't have a bunch of tattoos all over the place. She understands that she actually has some self-worth. Now, you may not agree with how she's displaying herself, but she's basically doing early 2000s pop music, Britney Spears type pop music, right? Those artists would push the envelope, but they wouldn't go too far. I think Sabrina Carpenter is leaning into that. She isn't going full on like debauchery, but she's leaning into basically early 2000s pop music. All these female pop artists, right? They would kind of push the envelope, but they wouldn't go too far. That's what Sabrina Carpenter is doing. She's a former Disney star. She went from being a Disney star to leaning into her looks even more. And it has these weirdos in their feelings. So let's get into this article from Bro Bible. As you can see from the title, feminists are hella triggered. And some of you beta males are as well. Sabrina Carpenter has exploded to become one of the biggest pop stars in the world in recent years. Has sparked some exhausting discourse with the release of an album cover for her latest record, Man's Best Friend will be released on August 29th. Since bursting onto the A-list scene in the early 2020s, the 26-year-old former Disney Channel star has certainly never been shy about making sensuality a part of her brand. One of the highlights of her concerts are the poses that she enacts while performing her song Juno. And that trend has continued with her cover art for Man's Best Friend, which sees Carpenter on her knees being walked like a dog. Man's Best Friend is the third studio album that Carpenter has released since 2020, alongside 2022's Emails I Can't Send and last year's Short and Sweet, which turned her into a pop superstar. See, the thing is that the pop genre, and Nicki Minaj is probably the only female rapper to move over into pop, which actually helped her extend. Pop music has been missing another Britney Spears, a white girl who could sell music, who could sell looks, who could sell music. They haven't had that in a long time. There has been artists. I don't put Taylor Swift in that category. She doesn't present herself the way that Sabrina Carpenter, shows herself. So I wouldn't put her in that category. But when was the last time? Maybe y'all know more than me. I mean, Doja Cat, but is Doja Cat somebody, even though she says that she no longer does pop music, but she became big due to her being in pop music. So can we put Doja Cat there? Who else, right? Katy Perry? Maybe Katy Perry. But did Katy Perry, did she have lean into, bimboism is what I call it? Not a slight to Sabrina Carpenter, but that's what she's kind of leaning into. And I think that's why people are upset, especially feminists. The discourse surrounding Carpenter's album cover can be broken down into two sides. People who think that she's doing this for the attention of men, and those who believe there's a more nuanced meaning to it. Here's an example A. Those who think her whole brand is the male gaze. See, that's the mindset of weirdos. No, Sabrina Carpenter is not centering men. She is dehumanizing women. You know what's funny? The same people who say this have no problem with Cardi B. They have no problem with Sexy Red. They have no problem with Megan Thee Stallion. They're okay with black women dehumanizing themselves. But when a white woman leans into it, now all of a sudden she's dehumanizing women. And now again, you don't see Cardi B like having herself walk like a dog, but Cardi B talks about how, the types of relations she has with men, right? Basically prostitute music. Those women do prostitute music. And with Sabrina, she's leaning more into the submissive woman type trope, right? If this was Sydney Sweeney, everyone would be dragging her and saying male gaze, but since it's Sabrina Carpenter, it's okay. Then there is example B, people who claim it's actually nuanced satire. I'm seeing a lot of discourse about Sabrina Carpenter's new album cover. For those of you those of you who may lack critical thinking skills, the cover is clearly satirical with a deeper meaning, portraying how the public views her, believing she is just for the male gaze. Once again, leaning into her personality, her persona. This is her persona, right? She does it at her shows. Not exactly this, but, I'm a little concerned about people's inability to immediately clock that the cover is obviously commentary on the way women are treated, especially with the context of Man-Child and the album being called Man's Best Friend. Like, guys, MOFG think. Finally, there is a third group of people. This is the group of you and I likely fall into that find the entire conversation completely ridiculous, as she's essentially running the same playbook that pretty blonde pop stars have been using for 30 years. Exactly. Don't really understand the various discourse circles surrounding Sabrina Carpenter. She just seems like a pretty normal pop star. Everyone is going batty for Sabrina Carpenter, the singing cartoon mouse who loves getting plowed, another said. The only way you could possibly think what Sabrina Carpenter is doing is particularly shocking or risque is if she's the first pop star you ever heard of. Right. I mean, don't let them see the pop stars of the late 90s or 2000s. Sabrina Carpenter was not meant to be discoursed in this way at this length. See, the concept of being scandalized by Sabrina Carpenter's album cover. You see, she leans into it. That's her persona, you see. And I think that you got a lot of, feminists who hate men, and every time they want to destroy anything a man likes. So if men like women, they're gonna try to attack that woman. Look what's happened with Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya is getting attacked because men are fans of her content, just like they'll be fans of other women's content. But I don't know. I guess they just don't like the fact that she was saying in her video she's gonna take someone's man, and she's cooking, even though she's joking, obviously. But again, when you are a female that men find attractive, and you don't hold any male-hating views, you're gonna be disliked. I just think that, we have a society full of lazy women, a bunch of women who don't take care of themselves, a lot of women who have ruined themselves. And whenever they see a woman like her, they get angry because they want men to just accept anything, right? They want men to be miserable, but we refuse to be miserable. You can be miserable, but not us. I don't think what Sabrina's doing is controversial. I mean, there have been other female pop stars who've leaned into this. You know what I'm saying? If you grew up in the late 90s or 2000s, you would know this, right? So let me know what y'all think in the comments section. Let me know if you don't share. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I'll see you on this one.